Good evening to all.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening. On behalf of the organizing committee, I, Dr. Deepak Patania, Assistant Professor, Government SPM College of Commerce, Jammu and Kashmir, welcome you all on the third day of 1 week International FDP on research methods, tools, and techniques for multidisciplinary research design. I also welcome Birthday Principal Sir Dr. Surinder Kumar on this occasion. I also extend my warm welcome to resource persons of today's technical sessions, Dr. Nada Radkovic and Dr. Tapsi Nagpal. I hope today's sessions would be very fruitful. Shall we go ahead with the session? I think enough participants have joined. Since our resource persons have joined, so I invite Dr. Nada Radkovic, resource person for the first session. Dr. Nada is assistant professor on the Faculty of Economics, Business and Tourism, Split University, Croatia. She is also co-founder of International Internship University. She has been bestowed with many awards such as International Educator of the Year, Best Women Researcher, etc. Ma'am, this is an honor for all of us to have you as a resource person for this session. I'm sure that participants will learn a lot from your vast experience. Over to you, ma'am. Kindly proceed.
Thank you. Greetings from Croatia. First, I want to thanks to Dr. Shalia Vasudeva and for Dr. Sylvester for this opportunity and for this great training session. 10 days that and I will participate on the third day. So let me share my presentation. So today, my topic is research methods. As you said, I'm coming from Croatia, from the University of Economics, Business and Tourism Split. I'm lucky that I have also two great jobs in my country, that I work on the university in the Department of Quantitative Methods and also like a professor in a vet school in my town. Working for International Internship University here on the global level, like president of research center. And as here I show proud woman in science and STEM for all, and really working a lot with the youth, with students in this field. I will start with one great thing that researchers professionally curse change agents. What it mean? Everyone and each person have a special talent. Only need to discover her talent. And researchers making research is helping a lot. So everything today, what we do, we need first to make research, and also we need to have information, because without information, we cannot do nothing. So also we need to take care about that information. Are that information true or not true? So we are surrounded a lot today with fake news, also with fake datas. Datas are always for us a big problem because we need it immediately. If we don't have a data now, it is really a problem. But when we make some researches, sometimes we need also a long period. Like example, we sometimes we need 1 year to make a very quality article. Not only writing to make a quality article, we need really a time, and it again depends about today I'm talking about the methods, which method we will use. So what is the future? Future is that we cannot live without research. So what is the research? How we define the research? For this definition of research, for like a study, particle concern, or using scientific methods. As I said, without scientific methods, we cannot make a quality research. So according to the American sociologues, we need to make a systematic inquiry. What is a systematic inquiry? Always we need to describe, explain, predict, and control this phenomena, because everything what we are doing is a phenomena. Even someone already make a research or write an article on the same topic, we are all unique and special. We are all unique and special. And I know that no one will write and make the same article and always will have a great impact on the society, on the economy, and on all. So it it we say that always involve inductive or deductive methods. We will explain what it means inductive and deductive methods. Also, because it is not the same for the research, even we use inductive or deductive method. So everybody today has his sector, has his field, and he is doing a work in his field. Even I can say that there are so many science who are really interdisciplinary. So today in science, tomorrow in agriculture, and etc. So it depends about the capabilities. It depends about your interest. So the most important thing is to have a quality, and you can only maintain your quality through a good research and with good information. So that is the research future. That is the research future. And all our students here on this university in India and abroad are working and doing this. So before we start, we always need a good plan, how to make it. And the plan is coming with the goals. Without the goals and research, we cannot make a quality research. So we need to find a best solution, and I can say that it is always a big challenge. It is always a big challenge when we are writing that. The best thing will be that when I always think about that. It will be great that we have more time for writing, because writing for us needs to be on the first place. And honestly, we really don't have a lot of time. So we are working, I can say, whole day on our work, on our lectures, on our workshops, and writing. So it is not easy to do this kind of job, and this job needs to have a iteration. So studying always deep and deep, how many literature we need to contact, how many things do we need to have ideas, we need to be innovative, we need to be creative, we need to be critical thinkers if we want to improve something, and always have a quality question, because without the questions, we cannot do nothing. Questions and answers. And that is a feedback. That is a feedback for us. So research is to see what everybody has seen and to think what nobody else has thought. Yes, this is very important, that nobody else has thought that. And Albert St. Georgi really great write this quote. Research is to see what everybody else has seen. So many people see the same things, but we don't think on the same way, and we cannot do that on the same way. So research is very important in our daily life, because today we cannot imagine our life without development, technology, science, innovation, and uh, that is, we can say, life is very empty. Life is empty without these things, and there will be no progress in no field. And that is very, very important, and that is what the sectors are trying to find. Even we are talking about the technology, we are talking about the healthcare. Any field, and any sector has to and needs to have and look at all things that that we have to, I can say explore and bring a good conclusion with our hypotheses and with our work. So that is a very crucial role impact research is doing in our day life, and all us are like humans are facing with this problem. Even we are talking about the educational research, medical research, agriculture research, we are here in the field of education. So we need to know the steps. We need to follow the steps. And we need, like this John Armstrong said, we need to have the own sake of the research problem and the problem solving. It is today, I'm really honored because today after me is Dr. Tapsi. Dr. Tapsi is an amazing science. She's in the field of technology, engineering, and a woman. And that is great for a woman. So our great Dr. Tapsi always have can solve the problems in the field of technology. And we know that education is going in step by step with technology. And we, like a woman in science and in technology and in engineering, that is amazing because today women can bring so many things to the society, to the science, and the women are bringing a lot. So I said educational research. We know that we have three main types of educational research. It can be a descriptive. Descriptive is when we say that is like a blood test. When we are sick, we need to make a blood test. And here in descriptive, this is that where we need to describe all things. And this is for us, we use so many techniques, so many tools, so many methods for making a great descriptive research. And descriptive statistics is helping us. I can say MS Excel. MS Excel is a tool which we all use and can make if we have the variables, if we want to make a correlation or something like that, that we can use MS Excel. So correlation is the next where we want to see, is there a good relationship? Is the relationship between the variables strong? Is it medium? Is it negative or positive? We have so many times a strong correlation, but it is negative. So what to do then? This is also a very that is also a majority type of educational research and experimental. In experiments, we can do whatever we want. So today in STEM and all fields, the experiments and in this like biology, chemistry, you can make it in groups, and I can say that this is very interesting for the youth population, this experiments. So why today research in education? I already said we have so many reasons. The first reason is that it is a systematic analysis. What it means, a systematic analysis? Because research is, I said already, it is very crucial. At first, like a systematic analysis, first in education, we always have and give analysis of the topic. Also, we need to make the objectives clearly defined in the research process, and the studies which we need, and we need to control them, and that it is exactly what research wants to provide us, like the individual. The second thing is why it is important is it is leading to the great observations. What it means to lead to great observation. If we talk about the field of education, and we are in education, the research will always help us to come to the conclusion. So what it means, come to conclusion. Conclusion can achieve by observing. All we have the facts, we need to have the figures, and all that needs to be in the deep. So such that things coming from the deep, and we have very various researches methods, and it can help us, it can always assist us, and it can help us to lead it in a greater observation. The third is that result in the prediction, theories, and many principles. What it means, the researchers can come up with the predictions. We need, yes, someone will say, what? How can you predict that? We can predict that. We can make that valid predictions. And also the theories. What kind of theories? the theories which we are researching. We can make great results through our hypotheses, through our research queries, and it will help us like a researcher to come up with a great conclusion. How to improve the practices? The fourth thing is to improve the practices. It will help us and to the students to make improvings, to make the practices at the same time. And it is helping the individuals to bring the improvement to the practice. So why the educational research? It is helping all us, to the students, to all the individuals. And if you are a student, if you are a teacher who can make who is researching a topic, it is always a great help to them. So that is very important to be the individual. And fifth is to develop new understanding related to the learning, to the teaching. The educators have so many benefits, and through the various researches, it is helping to have a better understanding of the subject of the research. So we develop understanding to make teaching, to make the learning, to make the educational administration. And that is the knowledge. Knowledge is always improving it for the professors. The next thing is that it is helping us to make an initiation for the action. Always we can perform some action. We can make him from the practice. We can produce them. We can make so many complements to the studies, and it will also help us to solve the problem. So that is the way, why, and how we can understand the role of the research. And even if we are doing researches, we don't need to stop. We need to make the decision. We make to hold the whole process. So that good research always help us to make a decision. And that is the next, help always to make a decision. To get better results for the participants, you need to have requires, you need to have the consequences, and all that needs to be involved in the process, and same for all the participants. How to bring the consistency in the work? So when we are making analyze, if even it is a deep analyze, it needs to be right, and it needs to be accurate. What it means, it will bring us the consistency in the work. It can bring the flaws, mistakes in final outcomes in this process. So the consistency always needs sorts of work. And it needs time. It needs lots of time. It needs lot of efforts for all the researchers to make this very specific and to make all the facts. So this is a result, and it is clean without any mistake. We need to motivate other. We need to be a motivation, because if we want the research to be full, it needs facts and figures, and we need to build a patience. We need to get fruitful results, and it is a lengthy process. I already say it builds a patience, and it is a lengthy process. So how to accurate research assistance in this results? Every kind of research, every kind of method has always be useful and can have a positive result. Always think on that. You will always get a positive result. Even you superior someone, even you are not an expert, you will have positive results. So research can be done by all age groups, like students, like professors. It can be even in the part of the humanity too. We can understand the society, policy, and all the real results. At the beginning, I mentioned inductive and deductive research. What is the difference? Inductive research methods always analyze and observe events, and they are associated with qualitative research. Deductive methods, they verify the event which we are observing, and deductive methods are always associated with quantitative analyze it. We need to have that. So it is not the same to be in the field of engineering and in the field of sociology. So to make a quality research, we need to have data. We need to practice ethics. We need to have a code of conduct while we are making this. These analyses are always based on logical reasons. Even we are using inductive or deductive method, real-time data and knowledge always are coming from the observations. So there is a deep analyze. There are no, we need to create a path for questions. We need to generate always new questions. Our data can help us to create more research opportunities. One of the most critical aspects of research is accuracy. What it means? Accuracy can be measured. So the purpose of our research can be exploratory, descriptive, and explanatory. If we are talking about the exploratory, then our research will conduct a study to a group of the questions. What it means to a group of the questions? That the answers of the questions always can refer to a conclusion and to the problem. It can handle a new problem that have been explored before. We know today that everything what we choose, if we are not making inventions, and everything today in all areas has already been explored before. Be sure. So then we can come to the explanatory. What is the cause of the explanatory research? We need to understand some specific changes which are existing and other procedures. And it is the running experiments. What it means, they need to be in the most popular form. Descriptive, I already explained. It is always focused on the knowledge through the process of the collection. So it depends about the sample. Is our sample big or not big? Sample, like example behavior of the sample population. And it is always required to make and to conduct your study. So descriptive is describing, explaining, and validating the things. And the research always begins by asking the right questions and choosing the methods to solve, to investigate the problem. You can collect your answers, you can analyze them, you can have the finding, and then you will bring the conclusions. So remember, research is always valuable only if it is valid. Valid means founded, logical, impartial. Then research needs to be accurate. What it means accurate? It needs to be free of the error and including the required details. Other reliable, pardon, other people can investigate the same way but and can produce similar results. That means reliable, timely, always on the time. We need to have that time, appropriate time frame, even when we are collecting the data and all, and complete. Complete is at the end. We need to complete. It needs to include all our data. If we want to support all the things to support our decisions in the time frame. So what is your time frame? How do you measure your time frame? So collecting the information, you will make changes. You will learn what changes have happened, and the changes can only happen with the methods, tools, and techniques. Methods, tools, and techniques are only way how you can gather your data and collect your information. But the method is not same as methodology. There are different terms. Method is a way of your doing, and when you are doing anything, something specially, according to the things you are researching, and it can be always defined like a plan. It is a plan. It is a kind of procedure in any activity. So method is a way of doing. A methodology is the study of your direction and your implications on the research. So let's see which research methods we have and what are the research methods. Research methods are the strategies. Strategies, we can say process, techniques, and they are utilized in the collecting of the data, collecting and making new information, creating things that we want to understand, and it is better for our topic. There are different types of research methods which we are using, and for the methods, we have different tools for collecting the data. So, like example, we have qualitative research, we have quantitative research, and we have the mixed method research. Method which we want to describe. Researchers use always different methods. Why different methods? Because we want to achieve the results while we are doing some and testing some theories, while we analyzing the data. So researchers and analysts are always using quantitative and qualitative research methods. Like example, focus groups, like interviews, like surveys for data interpretation. And what it means for data interpretation, for better understanding any information that you are using, we need to select the best research method if we want to make a good research. And a good research method can only help you to make a professional research, and if you and to achieve all your results in your investigations. When will we use qualitative research? When will we use a quantitative research? What is the difference between the qualitative and quantitative research? Qualitative research always is gathered by lived experiences, behaviors, emotions. For researchers, it is giving a better understanding of the complex concept, cultural, social interactions, and this type is useful if we want and if we are making an exploration of things, how and why we want to interpret and describe the actions. Here, we to make a qualitative research, I can say we need to contact a lot of the literature, especially because here we don't have numerical data which are ranked. At quantitative research, we are always having numerical data which we can rank, we can measure, we can categorize through the statistical analysis. Like example, me, I like more the quantitative researches because I like going through the statistical analysis. Statistical analysis is something for me is very important, especially because that is my main subject. My main subject is statistics and econometric statistical methods, and that is what I have like a main subject. So this type is always, for me, I can say it is always useful. Research is always useful because you can find out how many, how much, how often, or to what you want to extend. I always get the answers making quantitative research and using the numbers. Yes, we have also the mixed method research. The mixed method is also great because it make a integration. It make a integration between qualitative and quantitative research. Someone will say it is a holistic approach. It is a holistic approach because it is combining the statistical data and your insights. And that is also very great. That is great because you can have your insights, very deeper insights. So you can interpret them and bring them and combine and analyze with the statistical data. Pardon. Uh, I said then how to for the students how to make a difference. So I always say to my students, quantitative methods deal with numbers and measurable forms, and they always use the events or data, and their answers that they answer the questions always too. They can explain, they can predict, they can control everything. So numbers and measurable forms can explain, predict, control a phenomena. Uh, Still, qualitative methods, qualitative research collects data, but using some other methods, open-ended questions, and the responses are essentially non-numerical. They are non-numerical. So, qualitative methods is a method that will help a researcher to understand what participants think and why they think that in a particular way. So I always say that for qualitative methods, politics, sociology, psychology, this field, because we participants need to think and why to think on that particular way. So the base difference between them are simple, very simple, and it is very simple, and we need to know this difference. We need to differ them in their objectives, in their analysis, in the types of question we are asking, in the types of data we are collecting, in the in the data collection instruments. Also, we need to make a recognition to make producing them what is the degree of flexibility. So qualitative research start with what or how. Till quantitative research start with how, what, and why. We have here why. It is why. Qualitative research can identify the main argument. Quantitative research have independent and dependent variables. That is the difference. Qualitative research have more specific sub-questions. Still, quantitative research have three types of questions like descriptive, casual, and predictive type of questions. So tips for conducting your research you need to know. You need to know that all tips for conducting your research. The first tips is you need to identify the main trends and main trends and issues, opportunities, problems you are observing. So always write a sentence and describe each one. That is one tips for the conducting research. The second is you need to keep track of the frequency with which each of the main finding you are appearing. Keep the track of the frequency. 3 is make a list of your findings from the most common at the least common. Always make a list. Make a list of your findings. Then SWOT analyze. 4th is make a SWOT analyze. You need to evaluate a list of strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. And that can only be identified in a SWOT analyze. The second is prepare conclusions, prepare recommendations about your study. Act on your strategy. What is your strategy? So play and act on your strategy. You need to have a special strategy for conducting your research. Look all the information. Look for the gaps, and do make If you need some inquiry, make additional inquiry if it is really necessary, and don't hesitate to consider doing that. Plan to review all your results and make the efficient methods to analyze the results for the interpretation. So that is very important. That are tips for conducting, and you need to review all your goals, because before you start, you need to have the goals before making any conclusion about your research. Always keep it on the mind, how how the process you will complete, what data you will gather, and it will help you to make and to give the all whole answers on your questions. Ask yourself, if you want to make an analyze, if you want to identify some of your conclusions and recommendations. That is important. So research methods are always different from research methodologies, because they are the ways in which you will collect the data for your research project. I can say that each one, always when you are making a research, that is a project. So the best method for you to make your project is always depending on your topic. I can say always, but someone will not agree with me, so he will say or she largely depends on the topic. So the type of data you will need and the items which you will be collecting that data. So always have the boxes with the qualitative, quantitative, and mixed research methods. So how to select the best research method? That is the question. The question is coming from so many theories, theoreticals, and they are determined with which research method will be best for your proposal. That is the main question. How do you determine which research method will be best for your proposal? We have so many literature with so many great science theoreticals, right? So according to the Dawson 2019, right, and put several questions that you need to ask yourself when you want to determine the best research method for your project. So the first question is, are you good with numbers and mathematics? So if you are good with number and mathematics, you will choose quantitative research. Would you be interested in conducting interviews with human subjects? If you want to make interviews with human subjects, then you will not choose quantitative, you will choose qualitative research method. Then, would you enjoy creating a questionnaire for participants to complete? Uh, we have different questions that we need to ask ourselves. Do we prefer, so like example, do you prefer written communication or you prefer face-to-face interaction? What skills or experience do you have that can help you with your research? Who says that we know all? We don't know all. So do we have any experience from our past research project that can help us with this? How much time do you have to complete the research? So some methods are taking us a longer time to collect data than other methods. Like example, the question is, what is your budget? Do you have funding to conduct the research in the method you want? That is also very important. Do we have an adequate funding to conduct the research? We know that the research can be very expensive. Not only time, we need money for that. So how can we conduct the research, and which method we will use if we don't have adequate funding? Then we need to find another method. But is that method the best way for your research? Then what is our main problem? Also, data. How much data do you need? So some research topics need only a small amount of data, but others need a very significantly large amounts of data. So that is a very important question. Then, what is the purpose of your research? We started from this today, the purpose of the research. So, purpose always can provide you a good indicator. So, as a research method for you most appreciate. You see how important the research methods are, but we cannot talk about research methods if we don't know also the research tools and techniques. And never forget the basic steps in your research paper process. So always have on your mind that you need to first identify and develop your topic. That is crucial. Then you need to make a preliminary research for that information. Locate materials. How can you locate the materials? Then evaluate your sources. What are your sources? Do you have enough sources? Take notes. Always write. Take notes. Write your paper. Cite your sources properly. Then the step is make a proofread and then submit your research notebook. These are the components: introduction, literature review, method. So in the part of method, we need to have introduction. We need to have our research design. We need to have research instruments. We need to make our analyze. We know that always we have limitation. Write your limitation and take care about the ethics. Always take care about the ethics, and then using the method, you will write a conclusion. So first is introduction, second is literature review, third is method, fourth is the body. After method is going our body, and then we have a conclusion. We have a conclusion. So these five, depending, we sometimes we say we have five, but I can say that we have 9 components, not only 5 main components. We have first the purpose. Second, we have the research questions. Third, we have the assumptions. Fourth are the sampling methods. Then, after sampling methods, we have data collection methods. Then, research methods, quality criteria, data analysis, and after that is going report writing. We only change the names, but the report writing means a conclusion. It means a summary of our findings. It means conclusions. It means summary of contribution, and it means what future research. Because you never, yes, you think that you finish that one research, but be sure that you can continue doing a future research. And what will your what is contribution of your work? What is the contribution of the work? So think about the tools and techniques in your research. Always know which tool will you use, which techniques will you use. We know that we have various tools, various techniques of quality control in education. And think about the main types of research. Think about the things and what type of research will you use. And we have so many case studies. We have so many experimental studies. We have surveys, questionnaires, interviews, case studies, and other methods, and the types of the research. So, statistics and data analysis is always, for me, a crucial, essential research tool. All information you obtain in the questionnaires, in the surveys, they can be compiled in the statistics. And this statistical data researchers can use statistical researchers can took the theories, can look all the patterns, and always can explain or confirm your research. Uh, I said so today. There for us uh, is a big importance of the analysis and interpretation. It is for us, numbers don't mean nothing. I always said, and to my students too, if you write and like example standard deviation, you make you write standard deviation, but if you don't interpret it, it has not a value for us. So today everybody needs to limited experience in the activities. If we understand the complexity of the activities, it can be for us more easy, and we can do it only through the analyzing and through the interpretation. The decision, if our decisions are based on scientific analysis and interpretation, then everybody will understand us, and for us the decision will be very easily. Sometimes you we have some intuitive decisions, and for us maybe not good, and it will take us a big we can make a big responsible executives. We can increase the importance if we know the if we know what for us is meaning this analyze and interpretation. Use statistical tools. You can always you can make so many examples, like example for students, do projects, do case studies, teach them online, make research online, gave them the research before, if they don't have still skills, experience, gave them the task, they make gave them the topic, let them do the researches, let them find a database. So try to help them how more you teach them, because today it is a crucial thing. And instead of my conclusion, I will say I love this quote because it is very today. Today, some people think that this is not important, but we know that we have today digital literacy, financial literacy, eco literacy, but we need a statistical literacy. So, statistical way of thinking uh, is for me, for daily life, for all of us, for the citizens, for the youth, for the students, equally important like reading and writing. So think about that. Today, how can you are reading the newspapers, you are watching TV, you are on the social medias, and if you don't know what a percent means, what mean means, what is the measuring. So today it is for us important like reading and writing. So let's learn and grow together. Thank you for the attention, and I'm really sorry that my presentation was not visible today, and I really don't know why. Still don't know why we don't see my presentation.
Thank you
Thank you.
so much, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am, for your valuable session on methods of research. Now the house is open for discussion. We can spare a few minutes for question and answer session. And also request all the participants to kindly switch on their cameras for a group photograph with Dr. Nada.
I see what I only see here on this, nothing. I don't know what's happening really.
Question from the participant. No questions. Participants, if you want to ask something, if you have any query.
Ma'am, please share the material.
Dr. Nara, they are asking for your presentation, your PPT.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I will try. I will. Let me see.
Dr. Nara, you can send it on, you can mail it to the organizers and they can share it with participants later.
I have one question. Can you throw some lights on mixed methodology? Can you discuss in some detail, more detailing about the mixed methodology?
Excuse me, Nada ma'am.
Yes, yes.
One participant is asking question.
Oh, I didn't hear. Please, can you repeat it?
Yes, Ravi sir, please continue.
Ma'am, practically how we can use mixed methodology in our research work? How?
How can we do it? So, it depends about your field, depends about the topic or the research what you are doing. Why not? Why not to make? I said that if you have this is a good method. This make a mix because for quantitative, you make statistical analysis, you make the interpretations. But if you have this part, I can say always that this qualitative is a theoretical part. So why not? Why not have a theoretical and a practical part? That is for me a mix. It is a combination. It is a combination of statistical analysis. And if you have this theory, like example, you today we know that we are in the field of high technology like blockchain. How can we use how can blockchain help us in our home, like example we want to open our door. So that is a combination. You can do you can try to use the numerical data, but if you want to know this principle, you need to contact the literature, and you need to find you need a lot of source of literature to make a qualitative. But quantitative, maybe you will say, in I like example in United Arabian Emirates, there are so many villas. They are controlling their doors in the villas. So you try to find how many villas. This is a numerical data, and the theoretical part will be your insight, your deeper insight. What is your conclusion for that? So that mixed methods also enable the. It is called triangulation. Triangulation or we are saying verification. So you can make a verification of data, one data from two data, or you can have more sources of the data. So it depends about what you want to write, what you want to do. In everything you can make a mix research. You know, today we have so many already we have databases for the mixed methods. So we can find we can find some words, we can find some quotation marks, some designs, some models. I know that there are databases called PubMed. PubMed is giving you this opportunity. Also, I think that it is called CIN Hall. So it is using the keywords for the model. You have that mixed model, mixed design, or you can use multiply methods, not only one method. So I know that it is in the theory it is called a triangulation, but I didn't use this databases for my research is what I do, but you can try with this. Is it Ravin? How we said Ravin?
Yeah, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
You're most welcome.
Any more queries from the participants? I think all are satisfied. Thank you so much, Dr. Nada.
Thank you. Now we will listen our great Dr. Tapsi.
Sure, ma'am.
Thank
Now I would
you.
like to
Thank you, respected Ms. Deepak, for your kind words and for introducing and for commenting today's session. Thank you.
Thank you.
pleasure is all mine, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Nada ma'am. You explained
Thank you.
everything in detail, and it made it easier for us to understand how to do the research work. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Renu. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am.
Now, proceeding further, I would like to invite Dr. Tapsi Nagpal, resource person for the second session. Dr. Tapsi is working as an associate professor, computer science and information technology at Lingayas Vidyapeeth, Faridabad. She is also working as research and PhD coordinator of the university. She has been granted 4 patents and she has worked as a reviewer in top IEEE, Elsevier, and Springer journals. Dr. Tapsi has been bestowed with Women in Science and Innovation Award for the year 2022. Today, she will enlighten us all on thesis writing and planning. Ma'am, I'm sure all the participants will be benefited by your knowledge and experience. Over to you, ma'am. Kindly proceed.
You are not audible, ma'am.
Dr. Tapsi, unmute yourself. We don't hear you. Unmute yourself.
I'm so sorry. I forgot to unmute myself. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, ma'am.
I want to thank Dr. Shelza, Madam Deepak, for inviting me as a speaker on this platform. I'm really delighted to be on this forum. On the other side, I'm really happy to see Professor Nada again, to meet her to listen to her with a big smile, with a great vision. Thank you everyone for being there for me. And I hope that today's session will be a good session for me, for you all. Ma'am, kindly permit me to share my presentation. Should I?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. I think my screen is visible, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am, it's visible.
Okay. Good evening once again. Today, I'll be speaking on the topic thesis writing and planning. See, the topic is thesis writing and planning. I go rather in a different perspective. It is thesis planning and then writing. Let's see how. See, in my perspective, planning is very important. First, we should plan the things and think of if the plan is realistic, it is going to happen practically or not. And if it is an effective planning, then it's a great idea. When we are talking about research, now first of all, I would like to ask from the audience, what is research? We have been talking about the research very often these days. What is research? Can we have answer from the audience, please?
Searching again and again.
Yes, I am so glad. Searching again and again. Now, why do we require to search again and again? Because we want to know what has been searched about the particular topic we are being interested for, right? So, what has been searched so far, and about that research, and going deep into the research, going deep into that search, what is the purpose of searching it again and again? Likewise, I will give you one example. Just like I am having interest in the field of fault analysis, right? Fault analysis is a broader topic. I am interested in solar energy. So what I will be doing, first I will be finding out what is solar energy. Then I'll be searching out what are the current trends in solar energy. Then I'll be searching out what are the faults that usually occur in solar energy. Then I'll be finding out what methods are there to, analyze the faults which are there, and what are the methodologies which are used to repair those faults in solar energy. After coming to know these methods, what I will do is how I can contribute myself in repairing those faults and analyzing those faults. So this is how we search again and again. So today we will be talking about effective planning of research. How do we plan effectively to find out what actually we want? So we will be talking about how to write a research proposal. Proposal is like we want to propose something, that we will be doing something. Can we do it? Right. A research proposal is what? It is a detailed description of any project. And just like I told you, fault analysis of solar energy, or what are the current trends of solar energy faults today. So I can talk like this is a small project and I am going to undertake this project. Right. Now, when we talk about our curriculum, few departments, they submit the research proposal as a part of the evaluation of final project work or final semester work, but it is actually worth preparing that even if it is not a formal requirement of your course. What does it mean? That if it is not requirement of our course, even then it should be, essential to submit a research proposal. I would like to share with you all here on this platform that I never give assignments to my students. I never ask them to write answers to some questions. I always ask my students to submit only one, paper in one full semester. How can they, present their paper? Likewise, I just ask them what is their interest area. I make a group of the people, of my students, and I just discuss with them the applications of the subject I am teaching to them. Just like these days, I am teaching blockchain technology. So about blockchain technology, the applications of blockchain technology, I have divided my students. The number of students in each group is 2 to 4. Like each group will be working on one application of blockchain technology. So that application will be researched and current trends will be taken care of. So each group will be presenting one research paper and that will work as an assignment for them. Now, moving further, that we were talking about research proposal. We were talking about, yes, it should be built on the thinking that you have done in defining your research problem. See, it is very important to define the research problem, right? On the discussions that you've already had with your supervisor. See, it is very important to discuss your research problem with your supervisor. And there should be a good early reading. Before going to the supervisor, you should have a good reading on your own. And the research proposal should be comprehensive. That means it should be having the whole details in it that will make us think and go through thoroughly what is exactly there that we are going to do. And it will also help us when we are starting to write up that very research project. A researcher must be having one question in his or her own mind. And if it's not like that, one researcher should find out what is the question and he or she should try to solve that question in a research proposal. Now, what is an outline of effective planning of research? First of all, we should decide what is the topic and what is the question we are trying to find out, what is the problem actually, and why we are going to choose this topic. What is the importance of choosing that very topic for our research project? And what are the resources from where we'll be getting help from? What are the primary resources? First resource that will provide me help for my particular research project. And what additional data I require and from where that additional data will come from will be counted as secondary sources. What are the methods of research I'll be using? Just like I shared with you all that I was talking about the fault analysis in solar energy. So what are the methods which can be helpful in my research? Justification means I should be able to justify with the help of good reasoning, good rationale, that this method is the most appropriate one for analysis of my research project. Limitations means that what are the drawbacks of my research proposal, because nothing is perfect. If you see anything in this world, nothing is perfect. So there are some imperfections. So one must be aware, one must be having a good note of what are the drawbacks of the methodology he or she is using while making his research proposal. Now, one must find out the few headings, they are difficult to fill in right at the start of the project. When we are starting our project, we first write headings, this heading, that heading, and then we start to find out what are the gaps. We start to identify what are the gaps we should, fill Very good. Before we start our work. Now, I am again repeating my part that few departments submit the research proposal as a part of evaluation, but they are not sure what are the drawbacks of the methodology they are using while evaluating a particular research proposal, or what are the drawbacks of a particular research proposal. So one should have a good talk with the supervisor, and a big length of reading should be done so that the methodology is a methodology which is used for analyzing or carrying further or proceeding towards a particular research proposal is very easy before we started it. Now, how do we create a research plan? As I told you, planning is very important. Before executing anything, planning is very important. Now, few courses, they schedule the research proposal at the end of the course, while other courses, they go on with the research proposal along with the curriculum. Whichever course is organized, it is very important to create a plan so that one can have enough time so that each task can be allocated to a particular time, and each task can be given a deadline to complete. Now, it is very useful. How many weeks we have? We must draw a chart, and in that chart, we must be having the knowledge that what is the time period when we are unable to work, and what is the time period when we are occupied in other main commitments. The remaining period we should allocate to the various action plans to complete our research project. Let's see further. See, this is a beautiful example. Just like I have an example of a research plan timetable, of a research plan chart. In January, I can see in the last week of December, there is Christmas. So I just leave first column with Christmas written in it, and other 4 columns I just allocate to various action plans so that I can complete my research proposal. How I will be allocating first piece of January, which is not allocated. It is writing the research proposal, then reviewing the literature. I have to study a lot about the content of the research proposal. Then in the third section, I'll be completing the literature review part, and I will be conducting a good study, whatever I have read so far. And in the last section of the January, or by the end of the January, I'll be able to compile the data and just extract what is the major part of the data which is important for me as a part of the research group. In another one, see, I don't have any other occupancy. So I, allocate all the 4 weeks of the February to my tasks. Again, in March, I allocate all the weeks of March in completing my task. This ways, you can see, by the end of 3 months, I am done with my proof and proofing checking of the third part of my thesis. That means maximum part of my thesis work is done in just 3 months. From writing the research proposal, then writing the draft thesis, third part of the draft thesis, and proofing also, checking also. Otherwise, if you don't divide the task in various divisions of the week, of month, it may be difficult for you. We may say, I will do it tomorrow, I will do it day after tomorrow. It may or may not be done. Now, procrastination. This is a very beautiful word. Procrastination is Like if we want to delay if we are delaying something, we are not interested to do. So it's very important for us to understand, to identify what task we are taking in to be counted as a research proposal. If we are not interested in the same, then it may get delayed and delayed. Right? Some people find that they procrastinate more than they would like. So it's a common problem, and it is probably best to be well prepared. So we must be aware to identify and deal with the procrastination tasks. Right? So why do people procrastinate? Why they delay their tasks? For the reasons, for example, poor time management. Just I discussed earlier that if we do not divide our tasks in time in various weeks, months, or years, then our tasks may get delayed, daunted by the scale of the task. See, we may first start any task and then we can be afraid that the task is so lengthy. Then, if the task is getting delayed and it is not going to complete or not, we are saying that we may or we may not complete it, then those negative beliefs, they may overcome us. Loss of motivation. It's a very important factor. See, life is not a bed of roses. We always do not run on a smooth highway. We may face many challenges while going through any action plan. The motivation is very important. It may be from your peers, it may be from the environment where you are working. The loss of motivation also delays the task. Perfectionism. Yes, it's also one of the important aspects which delays the task. See, if for example, if I have done something and I see, no, it is not perfect, I will start from the scratch and then I will again start doing the thing. And by the time I again come to the point, I see, no, it is not perfect. So that ways, I am not be able to complete my task in a deadline time. Difficulty concentrating. I am not able to focus on the action plans I have made for my research work. Why? Because the topic is not of my interest. So it's very important that one should be well prepared to identify that what is the interest area. Need to feel under pressure. When we are not able to, complete our task, then we feel that we are pressurized and we lose the interest. Another factor, personal problems, that is an unavoidable reason for the procrastination. Now, early identification, as I told you, it's a very good sign that it will give us the best chance which can minimize the negative effects coming around. So once we suspect that we are, going to delay some task because of the interest we are losing in the particular task, so it will be helpful for us so that we review those things, we revisit those things, those interests, and check that the expectations we are having from the result, from the research work we are doing, are they actually realistic? Realistic means that are they really going to be, a measurable one, or are they really going to be practically possible or not? Here, the planning plays a very important role. Now, what is realistic planning? Realistic, I already told you, realistic means that the tasks which are practically possible and they are achievable too. So planning for the actions which are realistic is very, very important. Now, to improve the prospect of completing the assigned task or the thought of task on time and avoiding the delays due to not having interest in those tasks, what should we do? One should be realistic about what and about when you can or you will start, so that when you start the things, you don't have any obstacle coming around. So one should also devote time to plan and revise or revisit the plan, and so that we don't have any obstacle. One should try to work out if any of your research will take a set amount of time to complete. See, we should set a fixed amount of time that by this time I'll be completing my task. Just like I took example 2 slides ago, that within 3 months I'll be, from the day of start to the month of start of my work, and after till the completion of third draft of my thesis work, I'll be, taking just 3 months. So that is very important. Fixing amount of time to complete a particular action is very important. And another important thing is trying to work really hard to meet that task. Allocate appropriate time for any traveling you need to do for your research. See, we have already discussed that in your time plan chart, you need to fill those areas first, fill those time periods first, which are going to be occupied as a free occupancy. Just like if you are traveling somewhere, so you should be, filling that part of the week. Then if you are having some family outtake, then you need to fill that part. If you are having some, guests coming around, so that ways. So include other non-dissertation related things that you have done to do between now and then. What else you are required to do so that your project work is completed, you are also supposed to include those tasks. You should be having very clear and achievable objectives. What are objectives? Objectives are basically the aims. That my aim for this week is that I'll be writing the proposal and I will be proofing that proposal. And I'll be just selecting the things, whatever are required to complete my first objective. So this is very important. We were talking about procrastination and the reasons, and where we saw that concentration is very important. So focusing on one task at one time is very important. Jack of all, master of none. We already have heard of. So one should be jack of one and master of one, right? So leave time for editing. We should have a proper time so that we can correct the mistakes, what we have done during the task. Reward yourself when you complete objective. So we should be celebrating the thing when we complete the deadline task that we have timetable for us. Another thing is also there that if we are not able to complete the things and if we fall behind, we should make sure that we should spend extra time to rework our action plan so that we are not failed. Now, the research plan also includes the information about what are the equipment which we need to complete the project, what are the travel costs, what are the other expenditures which are likely to be incurred through the completion of our research task. We should also think that to whom we are dependent upon and who do we need to complete that project. And also think about if the things we are going to be dependent on or the people whom we are going to be dependent on, we can help them. We are unable to get that help. What will happen? Once the plan is created, it is a very good idea that we should show it to someone else. So someone else can be your family member, it may be academic staff member, maybe a friend, and we should always show our action plan to only that person who is skillful enough to understand that. Right. Now, if we talk about this action plan with a friend, that friend may also help us to look out for anything which we may have forgotten, or somewhere if we have been unrealistic in our planning, our friend may make us aware about that unrealistic plan. So what is unrealistic? Unrealistic means the plans or the action things which will not be practical for us, which are not achievable. So what are the essential steps to plan thesis writing? first phase of the process of thesis writing, it involves that we should first locate a suitable research advisor for our research. What is the institution? What is the name of the institution from where we are going to, enroll ourselves for a PhD scholar? Both these, research advisor and the institution, they should be in line with the interest topic we are choosing. And then both of them should be aligned to formulate the research plan. Now we should be having a good idea about all the tasks which will be involved and the problems we will be, occurring through, or we will be encompassing during the consultation with our research advisor. What does it mean? Just like when we enter any institution for, for a research work, and we are going to search for our research advisor, first task is that we should see whether the research advisor we are going to be allotted is having the area of interest we are having or not. Then when we will consult that research supervisor or research advisor for our research project, what he will be advising. Are we, still prepared to listen to him, to do the tasks, whatever will be assigned? So these things are very important and these should be anticipated first. Now, once we have research advisor, we have institution, we should prepare a thesis proposal. What is a thesis proposal? It is a short description of why the research and how the research is expected to be complete. How will we complete that research? And what is the goal for us? Right? What is the final goal for us is very, very important. See, without the outcome, without the proposed outcome, it's, nearly difficult to complete a research work. So before we proceed to the actual work, we should have a thorough search of the existing literature that I already talked about, literature review, which will help us to put the research in a better shape. Another essential steps so that we can plan our thesis writing is that we should learn how to use a suitable apparatus. See, first we should learn what is the apparatus we need for the completion of our research work. And we should have a good working knowledge of the experimental work or the theoretical boundaries before we start or before we think about the research problem. So once we start the research, we should maintain detailed and clear notes at every stage. Why? Because these will be consulted when we begin writing the thesis. See, this is a very important part. Why? Because we, have and we are supposed to do an extensive literature review before finding out a research problem. Then before writing thesis, we have to do many tasks. Just like we found the problem, we just listed down what are the methodologies to solve those problems, and then look for what are the methodology which has been, already on which the work has been done, and then find out what are the methodologies which are still to be used by somebody or the other. Then among those methodologies which are still to be explored, finding out one methodology on which we can work, then how to, work on that methodology, what is the apparatus required, what is the working knowledge required, what is the theory part required, many things we need before we begin with the actual thesis writing. So we should always jot down each and every single detail of this research program, so that at the end, when we start writing the thesis, we should be having everything available with us. So once our work is completed, appropriate conclusions must be there from the work we have done, and it should be put in which section of the thesis? Discussion. Now, Layout and format of the thesis should be decided before commencing writing. So before we start writing, we should have a clear structure, clear format of the thesis that in which we are going to write our thesis. There should be a clear boundary. What will be the front matter? What will be the body content? What will be the concluding portion? So we must be prepared already before starting our writing part. So once we are done with the detailing part, thesis should be reviewed. It should be read again and again by not just the research advisor, but also by the friends, by the other experts in the field. Why? Because the quality of the writing, it will be improved. Time and again we revise our thesis, we will be able to improve the writing part. Just remember the college days or school days, we were always advised to revise our examination sheets, our answer sheets before submitting it. And I, personally share my experience. Every time I revised my answer sheet, written answer sheet, I used to find one mistake or the other which I used to correct. So that's why I have a good advice that one should read the written pieces time and again before submitting. So the final and critical part is the thesis defense. So when we are defending our thesis, that the work we have done is perfectly novel and it is utility based. So one should thoroughly revise each and every detail in the thesis, and lastly, must be prepared to face all the queries which are related to any aspect. Now I will be discussing the part which is very basic. This was the planning part, how we plan our thesis. Now just let's brush up all the things about the thesis. So how will we define the thesis? Thesis is a part which is in a written form. It results from a research which has been originally done and it is submitted for the purpose of a higher degree in a university. We have master's thesis for a master's degree, and then we have PhD thesis for a PhD degree, doctorate degree. Now, what is a thesis statement? Many of us have often heard of a statement. Statement is which gives us in a proper particular writing. So what is a thesis statement? We talk about a problem, one problem or not many problems which we want to talk about. And it also describes what was known. What is, what do we know about the particular problem? And what do we did to solve these problems? How we solved these problems? What was the methodology we used to solve this problem? Now, this is the structure of a thesis. What is after going through the literature review, we come to know what is known to us, what is not known to us. How will we show it for methodology? What are we showing now? What did we show? What did we show it last time? And after we show, what was shown to it or what is known to it. Now, talking about thesis writing, we should always prepare a thesis outline. That means we should break our thesis into various chapters and we should list the major section in each one of the chapters. Then second part, those chapters or that thesis outline should be discussed with the supervisor. Then we should prepare a chapter outline. We should collect the whole data, the tables, the figures, and then we should arrange them into a very meaningful sequence. What is the sequence? That is one after which thing should be set at a priority basis. Sensible sequence with meaningful sequence in which one thing is set after other. So what about the thesis title? Title should be which one? That one which will be reflecting about the content of the thesis. It should be very short but very informative. For example, we have a title, Physico-Chemical and Functional Properties of Ozone Oxidized Starch. This title is very clear to us, just like it will explain us the physical, chemical, and the functional properties of ozone oxidized starch. Similarly, one should choose the title which simply reflects what is the content of the thesis. One is not required to go through the whole thesis. Title is sufficient enough to give you a great insight into the thesis content. Now, what is thesis abstract? Abstract is just a conclusion. Abstract is just a summary. So we should check to see if it meets the guidelines. Make sure we should, note down these points while writing the summary of the thesis, that we should see if it is meeting the guidelines, the thesis we have read, if it is meeting, thesis if we are writing, it is meeting the guidelines or not. And there is no grammatical or spelling mistake. Now, before submitting the abstract to a colleague, he should first go through it thoroughly, and then we should submit it to a colleague before submitting it to the supervisor and ask him or her whether it makes a meaning or not. Thesis introduction. Thesis introduction, introduction is when we tell about that what we are talking about. The first paragraph should provide a brief background in present tense. It is very important the paragraph should be in present tense so that we are aware about the content, the relevance, the nature of the problem, what is the problem, what is the purpose to choose that problem. Second paragraph may include why choosing that problem is important and what are the issues which are still unknown to us about that problem. About the last paragraph, one should state what is the logic behind that problem, what is the hypothesis. Hypothesis is what? Hypothesis is when we assume something and at the end we tell whether our assumption was right or wrong. The main objective, what is the main aim behind choosing that topic, or what is the purpose. Purpose means why that particular study has been done. The purpose of the introduction should be to supply ample amount of the past information so that the reader can understand and evaluate the results of the study which is being carried out now. He should not be, requiring to refer to the previous publications on the topic. Introduction, it should be very logical for the current study. Very important thing is that references should be very carefully chosen so that we should have a good background rather than an exhaustive review of the topic. We should not have a bulk number of things which is not understood, but we should have, let it be a few, references, few literatures which we study, and that should give a clear background information about the research work we are supposed to do in our. Now about the material and method section, it provides us with the detailed knowledge of the what methodology we are going to use to conduct the experiment. It provides us with the sufficient detail. It is not expected to be written like a laboratory manual. That means we write down the details which are required to understand about the topic. It should not be written like a perfect laboratory manual in a very detailed manner. And we should also describe in a material and method section what is the control, how should we regulate those methods, and what are the critical steps or what are the precautions. Now, next we move further to discussion. Here we communicate why our findings are important, how those findings support the experimental hypothesis, experimental assumptions. We have to assume something before we carry out an experimental process. Now, how these results will help us to understand this particular field of study. Discussion column consists of that. Now we come to conclusion. So it is the strongest and most important statement which we can make from the observation. Now, if we go back to the problem posed and describe the conclusion we have reached. So, conclusion section tells us what was the problem and how did we solve that problem and what is the conclusion. We summarize all the new observations we have made are basically our contribution towards the thesis. And what are the new interpretations we have made, and what is the new in-depth knowledge that we have gained from our current work. Now talking about the thesis statement. Thesis statement, it comprises of the summary of the central points of our research. It tells us what the proposed research will argue and why it will debate or argue about. The best thesis statements must be concise, they should be very short, they should be very sweet. We should not be making a very lengthy thesis statement. It should be short and sweet. It should be clear and directly in one or two sentences. It should be contentious too. That means we should not use simple statements of fact. That already is known to us. Thesis statement must be a claim that gives us proof or analysis to back up our research topic. It should align, it should be coherent, it should align and it should support and explain the rest of our research topic. Thesis statement must also be very strong. We are writing about, it should explain, it should support, and it should also be very rational with our thesis work. See, a strong thesis statement requires proof. We always see whenever we are taking a thesis defense, we always ask the students to just submit the proofs of their thesis work, the evidence, how we can, come to know that this thesis work or this research work is original. One has to submit the proof, one has to submit the supporting document, explain how this, the research and the supporting documents, they are having a good mapping. Sometimes it is useful to mention your supporting points in your thesis. Yes, he has cited one example. John Updike's Trust Me is a valuable novel for a college syllabus. Why it is valuable? Because it allows the reader to become familiar with his writing and provide keys which are easily connected to other works. So this novel is valuable for college students as a syllabi because this novel helps the reader to become familiar with the writing and it tells us about the themes which are easily connected to other works. So this is a supporting thing. In the body of our paper, we should write a paragraph or two about the supporting idea. Now, where should we place where the thesis statement should be located? It generally appears at the end of the introduction of your research paper. He has taken a very beautiful example that the negatives of internet use are outweighed by its many benefits for education. That means that internet use is taken as more negatively as its benefit, right? So internet facilitates easier access to information, exposure to different perspectives, and a flexible learning environment for both students and teachers. See, these days we have become, trapped in internet use. We use internet, it is having negative impact also, it is having, a positive impact also because it is giving us easier access to information, right? Let's analyze this statement. In another slide, we have some tips for writing the thesis statement. We should have a great knowledge of the topic. We should know what are the limitations of our topic and we should not make it too lengthy. And we should have a great brainstorming, great, thorough understanding, thorough reviewing about the research topic. Now, see, every researcher should come up with an initial thesis, which is known as working thesis. So as soon as the researcher has decided the research topic, he or she needs to work out what is the proposal. So a clear thesis will give direction and what is the structure of research paper. Researcher might already have a question. If it is not there, he should be, advised to find out one question so that he or she can easily decide the topic. We have given one example. Has the internet had a positive or negative impact on education? Or what impact the invention of Braille? What is Braille? Braille is a raised dots reading system used by blind and visually impaired people. So we'll be seeing these two examples, that these two examples we can take as our research problem. So after some initial research, we can formulate a tentative answer. We researched on these two questions. We had a great literature review. We read thoroughly about these problems, and after undergoing a tedious research process and writing process, we came to know, has the internet had a positive or negative impact on education? The answer: the internet has had a more of a positive than a negative effect on education. Another question was, what impact did the invention of Braille, which is the raised dot reading system used by blind and visually impaired people, have? What impact did the invention of Braille have? The invention of Braille improved the lives of blind people. So we read a lot of pieces, we read a lot of articles, we read a lot of work which has been done on these questions, related to these questions, and we came out with these answers. Now, how to develop our answer? So we should have two types of thesis statement we can have. One is argumentative thesis statement, another one is expository thesis statement. It depends upon the researcher's taste. If he or she is argumentative, what he will do? He will be argumentative, means that we should have a rationale, we should have good arguments to support our study. The negatives of internet use are outweighed by its many benefits for education. Why? Because it facilitates easier access to information. Exposit is more clear, more detailed statement that invention of railway in 19th century transformed the lives of blind people. Why it transformed the lives of blind people? How it is supported? Because that way is allowing them to participate more actively in public life. Because when those blind people, they were aware of the world, so they could participate more actively in public life. And if we want to refine this thesis statement, then what does this improved thesis statement on internet use say? That then those negative things, though they facilitate easier access to information, they also give us exposure to different perspectives. And we have a good learning environment for both students and teachers. Looking at another question about the invention of Braille, the invention of Braille transformed the lives of blind people in the 19th century. But the success, it depended on what? Mainstream accepted by the sighted teachers, the teachers who could be, able to see after the invention of Braille. And this process was shaped by debate. There were a lot many debates about disabled people's place in society. First, those people, they were not looked upon with a good eye, that they were distinguished, they were discriminated. But when the invention of Braille came, then it transformed the lives of blind people in the 19th century. They were, it shaped their lives, and they were not looked down upon by the society, and they were given a good place in the society. These days, we can see that we don't have special positions for these people. These people, they, with the help of Braille, they can read and understand the things, and they are sitting next to us. We should have a good work plan with timetable. Just like that, it's very easy, just like I told you earlier, that we should divide our work. Division of work really helps us a lot. Just like I say that reviewing of literature is very important. I gave 3 months to reviewing of literature, then I formulate my hypothesis, then 1 month for preparing the questionnaire, 2 months for getting the questionnaire filled, then 3 months for getting scoring of the questionnaires, and then 1 month for analyzing of reports, and then preparing the reports. See, I have just divided 3 plus 2, 5, 6, 8, 11, 12, and nearly 1.5 years from stage 1 to stage 7. If I divide the thing, then I am done from review of literature to preparing my report. Thank you so much for being patient enough. Now the house is open for the questions.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for your presentation. It was so simple and lucid. I hope all the participants will definitely, it would be very, very helpful for all the participants, particularly for young researchers. Now the
Ma'am,
house is open for discussion.
ma'am, can you please put some light on synopsis writing?
Yeah, dear, I have not kept any slide in synopsis writing, but I can tell you, see, synopsis is the basic, you know, summary, what we want to do about. Synopsis is basically what? If I go by the structure of synopsis, it is the topic, broad topic I have finalized. Then what work has been done on my topic so far, right? Then upon, on the basis of that part, that what work has been done so far, I will do what? I will formulate my objectives, and then what are the methodologies I can use to solve this problem that has not been solved yet. See, I'll give you one example. We can have a tabulated thing, like we just make it. I advise my students to make a tabulated data, just like we make a column, serial number, authors, year, right? Work done till date and work done not till date. Before that, we make one more column, that is future scope and conclusion, two more columns. So what I do is, first of all, suppose I am reading one research article, I'll be writing the serial number first. That is my first article, and I take last 5 years paper. I take 10 papers for the last 5 years, and then I make a good table of these columns about those papers. I have a clear idea what is the title of the paper, who are the authors, what was the year, what was the work done by them, what methodology was used by them, and I just have a good database of them. From that database, I can conclude what are the works which have been already done and what are the methodologies which are still to be used about my research interests. So I can, after tabulating these things, I can choose what are the left out methodologies which are not being used yet today. I can just choose one and I can work on that very idea. That is the basic synopsis part, and citing the references at that. I think I am able to clear the thing.
Thank you, ma'am. But in terms of statistical analysis and the huge work, what to choose, what to choose and what not to choose writing the synopsis, it's a very difficult.
See, in terms of statistical part, statistical things are they come under the methodology part, right? So while we are writing our synopsis, we just mention the methodology in a brief way. We don't, explain it in detail. Statistics is a big part, because when we are talking about the research part or a thesis part, we have to deal with, a big data set. So that big data set we should not include in a synopsis, in my opinion. We just need to, write the number of the data and the methodology we are using. The proposed methodology by us, which has not been yet used by anyone, in a brief.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah.
Good evening, ma'am. I have two questions.
Yes, sir.
Ma'am, my first question is, it might look, means it might.
Sir, sorry to interrupt you. Can you be a little louder?
Yes, ma'am. I hope I am loudly audible.
Okay. Now you are audible.
Yes,
Please.
yes, ma'am. My question is, many times while writing thesis or while writing review paper or any survey paper, there is a need. Let's say that I need to use some graphs or some images or some charts from some other sources. It might be some websites or some someone other's review work or someone other's thesis. So can I take them directly by citing them?
See, what you can do is, you can just snip that part, and you may see that there are always written the email IDs of those very authors. You can just email them and ask them
Okay.
for the permission that if you want to cite their graphs, in your thesis work or not. Take their permission and write that permission thing in a CC, small CC, after
Mhm.
taking the permission.
Correct, correct. Got it. Thank you. Ma'am, one more is there. Then many times while doing literature review, what happens that we need to find some research gaps. So we are
Yes.
able to download some papers, maybe with some sources like Sci-Hub and something other. But many times we are not able to download some quality papers. So let's say if
Right.
I am finding some research gap in a paper, so how can I assure myself that this research gap is not done in any other paper which I need, means I may not be able to download. So how can I assure that whatever research gap I am finding, that is not already been solved, because many papers we cannot download, and it is not possible to take membership of all the, what to say means, all the publishers, right?
Yes, sir. It is a very valid question. That's why we always take a gap. We have peer group also. Try to download two to around 10 to 20 papers from each 5 year gap.
Mhm.
That means if I'm talking about 2023, 5 years back, if I'm talking, it is 2018. So 2018 to 2023, I need to find out 10 to 20 papers. And your question that we don't have access to that very resource, that ways we can have a good peer group, or we can just, connect with LinkedIn or other people who have access to these things. Because many a times where we are working, we don't have access to these very resources, right? This is the only option. But we need to collect nearly 10 to 20 papers of each 5 years back.
Oh, got your point. Thank you so much.
Welcome, sir. Any other question, please?
Good evening, ma'am. Thanks for your informative session. Ma'am, my question is about thesis statement. Ma'am,
Okay.
for the paper, for the journals, when we are writing the papers, should we put the thesis statement there also
Yes,
when we
thesis
are
statement
writing
is
the papers?
important. Yes, sir. Thesis statement is important, but when we are writing a research paper, we are not supposed to make it as a title. We are not supposed to make it as a heading. Thesis statement must be included in the abstract part.
Yes.
How do we quote an abstract? We just first introduce about our topic in 2 to 3 lines. Then we write the thesis statement and the proposed methodology. That's it. It completes our abstract part.
Okay, ma'am.
I hope I
Thank you, ma'am.
have answered your question. Okay, thank you. Welcome. Anything else, please?
Any other query from the participants? Meanwhile, may I request all the participants kindly switch on their cameras for a group photograph with Dr. Tapsi. Thank you all. Professor Chandy Manda. I would like to invite Professor Chandeep Handa for the formal vote of thanks, please.
Thank you, Dr. Well, good evening, one and all. Well, the time has come to conclude today's event. I, on behalf of Organizing Committee of 1 Week International Virtual FTP on Research Methods, Tools and Techniques for Multidisciplinary Research Design, would like to extend a hearty vote of thanks to everyone present here for their great response towards the event. Highly grateful to all. First and foremost, I would like to thank our esteemed resource persons for taking out the time and effort in enriching us with their wide knowledge and expertise and giving us an insight in developing research related skills. I would like to express my sincere gratitude to the resource person of first technical session, Dr. Nada Ratkovic, for enlarging our knowledge and understanding about various methods of conducting research. We feel really privileged to gain from your years of research experience, ma'am. Well, my thanks are also due to the resource person of second technical session, Dr. Tapsi Nagpal, who very well explained the intricacies of writing a research proposal and thesis writing and how to effectively plan it through a very well laid out presentation, ma'am. It was such an informative session. Thank you, ma'am, for your contribution. We are really indebted. In the end, I would also like to thank all the participants for giving a patient hearing and making today's sessions highly interactive. Thanks all once again. Well, it was very nice being with you all today, and we'll see you tomorrow. Goodbye.